All right, we are live. Hello, everyone, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Pastrami Nation Podcast. I'm Kevin, and joining me today, as usual, is Elijah. What's going on, man?
Nothing much, just finding a workaround for my flaky crew for film.
Oh yeah, we'll talk about your film crew in a minute here. Um, anyways, and also joining us today, as usual, Christian. What's going on, man?
Shoo! What a weekend it's been.
Eliminator.
My weekend has been pretty much obsessed with Kendrick Lamar and other people.
Oh yeah.
It's been quite the weekend.
Ooh, yeah, it's rough. I really like the breakdown you did on the My Public Life as American Nerd episode. And joining us today, y'all can tell it's not Jason, it's not Nolan, but that's okay. We have a very special guest. This is our friend Dave Montoya. How you doing today, sir?
I'm doing pretty good. How you guys doing?
Oh, we're doing great. We're doing great. And you're here to talk about, if you look at your background, we're here to talk about American Smash, your new comic book series coming out soon, and also Dark Myth Comics, and what it's all about. But before we get started talking about all that stuff, let's get some housekeeping out of the way. Thank you all for listening. Thank you all for checking out the show. Wherever you're watching, wherever you're listening, you give us that like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. And you all right there, Christian?
Excuse me.
Okay, no, you're good. Give us a like, share, helps us out a lot. Really does a lot for us. Actually, Dave, I kind of actually wanted to ask you something because you had mentioned something to me a couple of days ago. We were talking about we had talked about X-Men on the My Public Life as an American Nerd podcast, and you're a huge X-Men nerd. So just real quick, I'm curious. So like we all got there's 2 episodes left of X-Men 97. Last week's episode was pretty great. Before we jump into like American Smash and stuff, I'm curious, what are your thoughts of the show so far? You obviously
I haven't seen it.
You haven't watched it yet?
No.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
With
crazy.
everything going on, my TV time is very limited.
Well, you got a little guest there. You got a special guest joining you.
King Megatron.
Hey.
Very cute, very cute. Well, anyways, let's jump into so you have a new comic book launching in July. You just came away from Free Comic Book Day of your Free Comic Book Day version of American Smash. So first, let's kind of start from the beginning. Tell us about American Smash. What is American Smash about?
Believe it or not, American Smash was created in 2000.
Okay.
A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. In Arkansas at that.
Wow.
I worked at a nursing home, and I had met this other guy named Alan Russo, and we quickly became friends.
Very cool.
And we worked night shifts, and we were just trying to pass the time. So we end up coming up with an idea. Let's write something. I'm like, okay, well, I'm down with comic books. Do you like comic books? Yeah, okay, let's try to write a comic book. And so we sat down and we're like, okay, well, what are we gonna do? And he's like, And I said, okay, well, I kind of did a little sketch of Hero, and I said, okay, well, this will be the hero. And he's like, okay, well, he needs a female sidekick, so I sketched out sidekick. And the true story is when we started writing this script, we simply just put down hero and sidekick with the intention of adding a name in later.
Right.
But once we got to issue 3, we realized that had become their name, Hero and Sidekick.
Okay.
And that was
Makes
kind
sense.
Yeah. And we actually released a copy back in 2000. It was 2000, 2001, somewhere around there, and it didn't do well. The jokes were... I know a lot of people say it was ahead of their time, but it legitimately was ahead of their time because the jokes didn't take back in 2000, but they take now.
Right.
Time. And I barely tweaked anything in the first issue, and people are just loving the new issue. And I've been working on American Smash quietly since 2001. No. Yeah, about 2001. Then we tried to work it again in 2008, and it just kind of fell through. And then it wasn't until 2021 that we started working on it again. And at this time, because see how it's all linked, is in the high desert, I ran a convention called the Jezelman Pop Culture Expo, PCE. And that was in February of 2020. We had made enough money from that event where I moved the company, just running like a fictitious business, a DBA, to incorporating. So in January of 2021, I actually incorporated my company, the Jezelman Dark Myth Company. And with that, not only did we have like Scare Fair that October, but we moved into different branches. And from that is where I was able to bring in an artist and had him start drawing. It was like August of 2021. He started drawing the issues for me.
Very cool.
And right now we're like 12 issues and one Halloween special ahead.
Mm-hmm. Very cool. So it's coming along pretty quickly. So you said, so the first issue is dropping soon. What can you tell us about the story of American Smash, as far as who these characters are? What kind of what's the basic plot of the story?
The basic plot is to be stupid as possible.
Well, that's okay though.
It.
That is legitimately the preface of the existence of this story, is just to be stupid, to look at something and laugh and say that is just ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
And we like to make fun of characters that, like in the one shot, we went after a character who we renamed Grimace. And we like to make fun because it's fun. I mean, you can go and you can read like the X-Men, which is very gripping, very dynamic and dramatic at the same time, and that's fun. I love it. I mean, I have almost the entire collection of the Uncanny X-Men.
Nice.
I get that, but there's that rare few out there that they're not fun. I mean, that are funny, and that was our motivation. Is just we wanted to be funny and have a good time.
Mm-hmm. Okay. No, that's awesome. Arturo, what's going on, man? It's nice seeing you. Thank you for joining us. I do have a question. When it comes to like the humor and stuff in the book, you say it's funny, it's silly, it's goofy. Did you have any inspirations for the type of humor that you're using in the book? Obviously, it's your sense of humor.
That too.
But like, as far as like if you were to compare it to like another, who were some of your influences, when you're writing a book like this, when you're focusing on the comedy stuff, what are some of your influences when it comes to that aspect of it?
Comic wise, and you can kind of look at the character and tell it has that tick flavor to it.
Mm-hmm.
But we wanted to push a little bit more past into the silliness of not only is Hero just kind of goofy,
mm-hmm.
but he's almost witless. He's the hero because he's got the muscle, and that's pretty much it.
Right.
And I like a lot of Kevin Smith humor. So
I was waiting for you to bring up Kevin Smith because I love Kevin Smith. Yeah.
So I think those are a good combination. I I was handing these out on May 4th, and at Free Comic Book Day, and I was telling some of the audience, that was looking through it, and they're like, "Well, it was rated teenager," and I'm like, "Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, my 8-year-old daughter read it, but that the way I wrote that story, it was very tame, as to where with the coming issues, it's actually going to be a mature teen. So we kind of push that element, that Kevin Smith-esque element, in the series. So
Can you buy me when it comes out?
Oh yeah, we'll hook it up. But it's like if Randall was to write a comic, right? That's how I kind of vibe it.
Yeah. Oh gosh, should I? There's So in the comic world that is known for having two letters,
Mm-hmm.
There's a comic book that what is it? It's the Look People. You get me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah.
So there's a blue guy,
Mm-hmm.
and he doesn't like to wear clothes. And that's comedy right there. That's just, it writes itself.
Right.
So what happens when you have someone who's a nitwit and a goofball like Hero, and you have Sidekick who likes the men, and then you have this demigod who doesn't like to wear underwear.
Right.
They're on a Greyhound. That is the premise of issue 1.
I gotcha. No, that's cool. That's interesting. I like those that blend of characters. Just like it doesn't. I mean, obviously it doesn't mesh, but that's kind of the whole point, right? Like it's supposed to be weird and goofy, and that's crazy. That's really really cool. So. Getting away from just American Smash just for a minute, you have Dark Myth Comics, which is a company that you run, correct?
I started Dark Myth Comics in 1993.
Okay, tell us a little bit about that. I'm very curious. You said, obviously through the conventions and everything, but tell us a little bit about Dark Myth Comics and what's kind of not publishing history, but like how did that get started, and how did what kind of books do you guys distribute and stuff like that?
Okay.
I understand it's 93, so I don't expect you to remember everything, but
or 30 years ago.
What had happened was I couldn't read. Honestly, I was I think I was a freshman in high school,
mm-hmm.
and I couldn't read, but I'd always loved arts. Yeah, I know this took a very serious turn really fast.
No, I know. Okay.
And my aunt had given me some comic books, X-Men comic books, actually, to read. And they sat in my desk, and it was for my birthday, in fact. They sat on my desk forever, and I had just one day just wanted to look through them. So I looked through the art, and it was the great Jim Lee art.
Right.
And I was like, I decided one day I want to see what happens. I want to see what's going on. So I actually started to try to read them. And my parents had bought me a dictionary because, it was 1993. There was no such thing as the internet or Google.
So we had.
Or, Audible.
Yeah, none of that.
So, and I still have it somewhere around here. I have the dictionary. And when I would come to a word, I would highlight it, and I would okay, so this is what this means. And I fell in love with that world. And we came from a very low middle class family.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't get enough reading material quick enough. So I was burning through the comic books.
Right.
One day I decided, well, I'm going to try to start writing my own comic books because I wanted to read something.
Yeah.
So I just started reading my own books. I know that sounds very egotistical, but
that's true. Awesome.
And
it's something you like to read.
Yeah, it's something that you can find your own pleasure in, and it's something that you can also make at your own pace. So, if you're about to finish one, then you know that you'll have to hurry on the next one.
Right. And so probably maybe a year after, I was brave enough to write up a script, and I sent it in to Marvel.
Oh, nice.
And it was, of course, an X-Men story because that's all I knew. It was supposed to be a back, just one of those 8-pagers.
Right.
And they liked it, and they contacted me, and they found out how young I was, and they're like, "Sorry, kid." So, feeling very defeated because I had, again, this was the 90s, so there was a comic books company on every block of the corner. You had, not only did Image birth in 92, and you had DC and Marvel, you had Variant, you had Harris, you had, you had them all. But once they found out I was so young, I instantly got turned down. So I was just feeling defeated, and one day I looked at my aunt, who the one that gave me the comic books, who started this whole thing. And I said, I think I'm going to start making my own comic books. And she made the biggest life-changing statement. Why not? Go for it.
There you go. That's all you need.
So I wrote my stories. I penciled them. My brother inked them. And I colored them. My aunt, the one that got me into the comics, she edited. And we had a old Circuit City in Victorville. It was the only place the only place in the high desert where you could go and you could get 11x17 color copies. So what we would do is we would go down there, and I think we made like 20. And we'd go cut them out because they were all the right size, and we'd staple them, and we'd go in my little neighborhood and sell them for like a ridiculous amount of money for back then. I think back then they were only like 75 cents, and we were selling them for like $2.
Oh.
And then at the time, there was a comic book store in Hesperia where the let's see, like you're familiar with the high desert too, right, Kevin?
Yeah. That's where I grew up. I grew up in Phelan, but we were in this area and all that stuff.
So where the old Blockbuster Video used to be.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
In that shopping center was a comic book store, and I would just, whatever I couldn't sell, I would just go in there, and we made a deal, pretty much. Now as an adult, I'm thinking he just, here's the money, or here's the credit, and took the comics and just threw it in the trash. But basically he would go and he would give me the money that it cost me to make those books. And then he would, he said, but of course as a kid, I just bought it. But yeah, so that happened for a couple years.
Mm-hmm. So you're what age exactly at this point?
High
school? This is high school.
High school. I'm high school. I'm probably like 15.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Wow.
He's accomplished more in 15 years than I have in 17. God damn.
It's not a competition. Remember that.
But if it was.
Yeah. That's awesome, though. That's crazy.
That is very crazy.
It was never about achieving or accomplishing. It was just, I had to, and I'm like that today. If I have a need, a desire, I have to accomplish it. I have to do it. That's just the way I've always been.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's cool.
And then at 1995, after reading a book, is where I changed the name to Dark Myth. Actually, if you give me 1 second, I want to get it for you.
Yeah, no, you're good. You're good.
This is awesome. 95. I think I was in junior high still.
I was 15. What was that? So that would be what? I'd be a freshman? No,
Yeah,
junior?
it was like
No,
12,
a sophomore?
13.
A freshman.
Yeah.
I graduated in 98.
Yeah,
So
Yeah, I was class
a
of
freshman,
2000.
if not a sophomore.
I was a baby, fresh-faced
Mhm.
teen. I think I was
Yeah.
shaving.
But this time, I mean, yeah, the early 90s is
You're
defined by
mocking
comic
me
books
at
to
this
me.
point.
Like, that's, yeah, from like 89, 88 to like 96 is just defined by the comic books.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
how I think of my time.
He's
then.
just mocking
music.
my lack of facial hair.
Sorry, you can't shave yet, but
I'm 17.
you don't need to shave.
Trust me, it's not no rush. It becomes
Yeah,
a pain.
seriously. It's kind of
Yeah,
a pain in the, you know what?
So I started doing more research about comics, and it sent me back to the 1940s and the comic book burning rallies.
Mm.
And there's an author, he was a doctor, Frederick Retherham, and he said that, you know, the comic books were polluting the mind of the children.
Oh, jeez.
Of course they did.
He wrote a book that created the Comic Authority Code based on this book,
Mm.
and it was called, let's see if you can see it.
It's a big blur.
Yeah,
Big blob.
let's see. No,
Blob.
You're trying, but
What's
there's
the book
nothing.
called?
it's Seduction of the Innocent.
Oh, okay.
And in it, there's a passage where it says that comic books are a dark myth of the devil or of Satan.
Oh, okay. Ah.
And I'm like,
Hey.
oh,
Bingo.
As a manga reader, I knew
Yes.
that then.
Nice.
and that's where the name Dark Myth came from.
That's
love it.
awesome. I
That is
love
so
that.
cool.
I might have to check out that book too. What was it called again? I know you said it,
Seduction of the
Seduction of the Innocents.
but- Okay.
Yeah.
Dude, I don't remember that because that's fascinating. Yeah, the comic book code, the comic book authority. That's a whole other story. That's a whole other podcast. We could talk about that.
Yeah, it's such a fascinating thing, and it's such a relevant thing to talk about because it's just
Oh.
something that happens repeatedly. It's
It's
cyclical.
hap-
It's sad.
Yeah.
I was part of the comic book legal defense fund when that finally broke.
Oh,
It
were
was-
you?
It was a you know, to get rid of the censorship that it had for that many years.
Yeah.
For over 50 years, and to finally have, you know, the judge say, yes, this is censorship. Yes, this is, you know, a violation of the First Amendment.
Mm.
It was a good time to be alive back then.
It's almost like they're trying to bring it back in a way in some aspects. Which is
So-
kind of a shame.
Yeah, they are though.
Yeah.
So just some quick background, just to expand on all of that and to summarize everything. Basically, in the 40s, there was this big push to ban comic books or control comic books because, like everything, people were trying to find a reason why kids were bad.
Yes.
If you do a study, it turns out milk is bad because every bad kid drinks milk. This is the same thing that you can do with comic books, same thing with video games now. So
Yep.
instead of letting
Right.
and so instead of letting the government like make this body, comics took it upon themselves to make like a self-sanctioning or a self-governing like comic book authority. That's what that is. But outside of that, outside of the big two companies, was like a whole bunch of people making comic books that said F all that. And like their whole thing was no rules. So people like Robert Crumb, people like a lot of the things, American Splendor, a lot of like these underground comics. This is when that started coming up, like in the 60s over in San Francisco, Haight-Ashbury. Literally Fritz the Cat, like all of the crazy,
Man, that was wild.
wildly inappropriate things. Again,
Bon
their
Buddy.
whole rule was no rules. So like any whatever twisted, demented thing they could think of, they would put in their comic books.
I love that rule, by the way.
But through that, we've got some of like the most amazing classic like American artwork, American illustration. Robert Crumb, if you guys are into like documentaries, it's in the Criterion Collection.
It's
It's
so
just
good.
called Crumb.
It's so good.
Incredibly depressing, but so moving, very, very powerful. I highly recommend it. It's beautiful. Also, you'll be a big fan. I collect Crumb Books. I just bought a book. If you're ever in the LA area, there's a bookstore in LA called Arcana. Dude, it's worth going to, like making a trip out to LA just for it. They have hard to find art books at really, really good prices, and they're in like perfect condition.
Nice.
So Arcana, check it out. Anyway.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. So then it just kind of took off from there. You're with American Smash now. So just out of curiosity, this is actually a question for the whole group. I'm just curious about this. If you can, so David, we'll start with you. And if you guys have an answer too, please chime in. But you had mentioned how you wrote to Marvel, and you were talking about, you love the X-Men.
Yes.
If you were to choose one book you can write for, wishful thinking, but let's say someone's like, here are these characters. You can write any book you want, any characters you want. What would be that book? Which characters would you tackle? Would it be X-Men?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I just spent a ridiculous amount of money. Just like tomorrow's my birthday, right? So
Happy birthday.
I went, thank you. I went and treated myself to a present. What was my present?
X-Men.
Uncanny X-Men number 10.
Whoa, congrats.
Yes.
That is awesome. That is very cool. Christian, I know, like, if you can just like draw on a comic book, and it could be
That's different. That's different.
that?
What I would write, it was very different from what I would draw.
So what would you write and what would you draw?
If I was to write on anything, I think I would want to write on Hellboy. I love Hellboy. It's such a fun thing, and like his whole formula of like how he kind of just blends his character into like existing world mythology. Beautiful. It's done, so whatever. I'd love to draw Hellboy too. Turtles, I'd love to have a run on Turtles and like kind of do my design on the Turtles. I'd love to do X-Men. But my whole thing with X-Men is just like I love a specific team, and that team is liquid, and it's constantly. I don't know what the team is honestly right now. I'm like I started the Powers of 10 and House of X, but I'm not completely caught up. So I love X-Men. It's so rich. There's just so much to pull from. I really think that X-Men is the Marvel's like richest IP. You know what I mean? More Spider-Man maybe and X-Men. Those two are the big
right.
Ones. Again, we can all attest to this. In the 90s, nobody gave a shit about the Avengers. It wasn't until the 2000s.
It's true. It's true.
No, but if you were like, "Oh, look, the Avengers," you would get rocks thrown at you. You know what I mean? Like, I don't like the Avengers. So anyway, it's good. All these years we've been in an X-Men drop for like 20 years or like 15 years, so it's nice. Marvel has been poo-pooing them. We haven't been getting any good movies, so it's nice. X-Men 97 is the best thing Marvel's put out in years. So
absolutely,
I can't wait for you to check it out, man.
Oh no, I'm excited. Yeah.
It's good.
Because I was one of those kids that the original. In fact, I remember what was it? It was like 93. I think it was 93. Thanksgiving 1993. They put out the Night of the Sentinels just to kind of run it, and I remember seeing it. When it was, and then found out like a couple years later that they had put out a new series that's going to run, and I watched them all every Saturday morning.
Yeah, same.
I remember them announcing it. I remember like Wizard Magazine, like there's going to be an animated series, like and they showed like a frame of like Wolverine, an animated cell, and I was just like, my mind was blown. I was like, oh my god, I'm going to get to see cartoons of this.
I remember at the back in the day, I remember how like fast food joints used to do like weird VHS promotions. I don't know if you guys remember that.
Yes.
In the 90s, McDonald's used, but Pizza Hut actually had the Night of the Sentinels, the VHS.
Yeah.
I remember getting that with had like a cool case. It was like super simplistic, but it was very cool.
Side note, the one thing I really remember from Pizza Hut was the Land Before Time toys.
Oh,
they
yeah.
had little rubber hand puppets. Do you guys
Those were
remember?
amazing.
From Pizza Hut, like little ducky.
I remember that.
I don't know.
Dude, I still have. one of the only things I have from my childhood still, I pass it down to these kids, my Littlefoot stuffy that I got right after we watched the movie. My dad took us to it was a Macy's exclusive. And I've carried that thing with me ever since. Like it's in good shape. I absolutely
Eli, you better take care of that thing.
What's that?
Oh, okay. I remember it now.
Yeah, yes. Eli, you better take care of that. That's it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They're gonna take care of it. It's my.
I'll go
my
down to my
Littlefoot.
kids if I ever have.
Yes.
Yeah. You wanted to show what you would write if you can write something real quick.
Okay. So I have 3, but I only have physicals of 2 of them.
Dude, he wants to write manga.
I want to write for Chainsaw Man and Hell's Paradise.
Those are 2 good choices. Chainsaw Man would be interesting to write for, actually.
And
Kevin,
then,
what about you?
What's that?
Wait, go for it. Sorry, Eli. I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
there is a rom-com that I watched a couple of years ago. That's also a manga, but I haven't been able to find it anywhere. It's Rascal Does Not Dream of a Bunny Girl Senpai. It sounds horrible in the title, but it's pretty good and it's depressing.
None of those words meant. I have no idea.
I understood a quarter of what you.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go with it.
the Casper.
Kevin, what about you? What would you write?
I was thinking about it, and I think for me, like the ultimate, just super fun character to write, I would actually love to write Ghost Rider. I feel like Ghost Rider would just be a lot of fun. Like you could really lean into the horror aspects of it, and just.
So do you go Johnny Blaze?
Johnny Blaze.
Okay.
Yeah, Johnny Blaze is my guy. But yeah, I just think it'd be so much fun. I feel like you can do so much with it, and you can do so much with a lot of them. But Johnny Cage, you can really, like I said, or not Johnny Cage, Johnny Blaze. You can really lean into the horror aspects of it, and that's exactly what I'd want to do. It's like super dark, super twisted. Just go all out and just.
If I had to choose a Marvel character, I'd do Deadpool.
I think he's a badass too. I just feel like he'd be just fun just to put in situations where you're just like, that's fucking Johnny Blaze. Like he can do that. So
that was one of my there was like a handful of characters I was obsessed with as a child, and Ghost Rider was one of them.
Yeah.
I think in the early 90s, Mark Teixeira was like the artist for Ghost Rider. It was like the Danny Ketch run. And I got to meet him as a kid. I got drawings from him, personalized from him. I loved him. I loved his like visceral like inking style. He was super cool. Yeah, I don't know. That's exciting. I love like when people take a character and then kind of dip it into a genre that like, oh, I didn't expect that. I think like in 2015, I forget who was the writer on it, but the Silver Surfer, Mike Allred was like the artist on it, and he took it into like this like Doctor Who kind of thing, which was awesome. Really awesome. Like he had a companion, and every issue was like a new planet. It was definitely like super inspired by Doctor Who, and like what a clever direction to take something like the Silver Surfer in an unexpected way too. I think it's really cool.
And it sounds like it. What I know about the character, it sounds like that would fit perfectly.
Right? Absolutely.
Yeah.
So it's really cool. It's really sweet, especially like coupled with Mike Allred's. Like he has that like classic, what's his name? Like Herbie kind of style, like this like classic Americana, like 60s illustration style, which is a nice match for that writing.
Yeah, no,
really
absolutely, 100%. So Dave, just real quick. So American Smash starts. The first issue is releasing in July. Do you guys have a release schedule for the rest of them? Is it going to be monthly, bi-monthly, or you're just kind of going to gauge?
It's going to be monthly.
Okay.
If we're going to do it, we're going to do it right. That's just my motto. I want people. That's why I put so much time and effort and money into this one shot, and I want people to know that we made zero money on the free comic book day because it was free. But I put out the book that we put out because if I'm willing to go this far for a free book, what am I willing to do for a book that you're going to have to pay for?
Right, exactly.
That makes a lot of sense, actually.
Yeah, no, that's the kind
and
of
plus, one of the things that I am super excited about, and I know you've seen it, is we brought back the old school 6-panel comic strips.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They're all. Where can people find those? I know they're on Facebook and Instagram, but where can they go to find all those strips?
It's darkmythcomics.com,
Okay.
and it's a weekly comic strip. We got good return on it, so I just authorized for more to be made, and they'll be coming soon. We're always trying to expand our arsenal, so I think what we're going to do is we're actually going to be hiring a new artist, because the artist that we have right now is drawing more books, for American Smash.
Right.
So he really can't do that plus draw the panels.
That's a lot.
So we're actually hiring on, and we're trying to put the best possible product out there. I know that sounds very corporate-y, but
no, but it's true.
If anything, turning corporate is just putting a product out there, whether it's finished or not.
Yeah, no, I won't.
That's good.
No, I mean there was an issue that we actually pulled, and even though it's costing me money to have it completely redone, now mind you, I should back up. I had mentioned Alan Russo. He is my best friend. He's been my best friend for almost 25 years now, and he was looking at the comic. Now, when I got the comics, the pencils, I was just excited because after all these years, here are the pencils. I actually see the vision. I was excited.
Right.
And he looked at it and he's like, yeah, but this character's backwards and he missed this and he didn't do this. And I was like, yeah, but, I already kind of paid for everything. And I could tell his disappointment. Talking to him, and I was like, "All right, man. All right, we're gonna do this right." So we're having it completely redone.
When you guys, okay, I don't want to get so super technical on this, but like when you guys are making your agreement with your artist, issues like that happen, right? So is that put into the contract where it's like, hey, I do you get X amount of changes before they start charging you, or you know what I mean? Are they already going to charge you for a change? Is that something you're going to start putting into the contracts moving forward? You know what I mean?
Yes, I am actually, because it was something that I hadn't thought about. Now, right now, the way the contract reads is that if we're in the process of approving the pencils before they go to inks, if I catch something and I tell you to fix it, then you fix it and there's no charge. But if I approve it, then it goes to inks. Okay. Yeah.
Do you have the same inker and penciler? Is it the same person?
Yes.
Okay, that's cool. Is it all digital that they're doing this or traditional?
Idris, the penciler, he's very traditional. He pencil and paper. As where Patrick, the inker, he likes digital.
Okay, so they take scans and then he goes digital and then inks and he does also the color?
No, that's somebody else.
So you have 3 people.
So the whole process is like the first six issues of American Smash is co-written between Russo and I. Right. So I would say the last 3 were done online because I live in California. He lives in Arkansas still.
Right.
So I would say, okay, here's an idea. And he's like, okay, what if we do this? We'll add this. We'll do this. So we basically have an idea from beginning to end with all the jokes. And then I start breaking it into panels. And then he'll add his panels. Then typically for him, he'll put in his dialogue while he's putting in the panels. And then it comes back to me and I just flesh it all out and make it a cohesive story. Mm-hmm. And then after that, then it goes to the line editor and she'll read through the script to make sure there's no, screw ups, as far as like grammar or typos or anything. And then after that's approved, then it goes to the penciler. Once the penciler reads the script, he gives me a basic layout of, okay, this is how I'm going to draw it. and I approve the layout, then he goes back and he draws it. Once he draws it, then it comes back to me. I look at it. Okay, I like it, or these are the changes that need to be made. So far, I had not sent it back. So it just went to the inker. The inker would give me his inks, and a couple times I told him, easier on the on the line weight here, or a deeper line weight here, that kind of thing. Or can you make an adjustment and fix this here? And then after that's been approved, then it goes to the colorist. And then the colorist, the colorist is amazing. He's just like,
yeah, you see that. They're gorgeous.
Yes. So then after that, then it goes to the letterer, which is George, who's out of New York, and
he's traditional letterist.
I don't know what he does, to be honest with you. He just sends me the files, and they look great. Okay, so I'm happy with them.
Cool. Yeah.
And then after that, then it goes to the editor-in-chief. Believe it or not, I'm not the editor-in-chief. And he'll look it over, like, from beginning to end, and he'll say, okay, I like it. This is what we're going to grade it with, because I created, like, in the mid-90s, maybe later 90s, I created my own comic book rating system. So it's very straightforward. And he'll give it a grade of, like, mature teen, because that's what we shoot for, is mature teen. And then we move off to the printing part, which gives me indigestion just thinking about it.
Yeah, I can imagine.
It's a whole
it's a stressful thing, because you send it off to the printers, and fingers crossed, that's going out how you send it to them. So have you ever run into issues where, like, you get it back from print and you're like, oh my god, this is a nightmare?
Yeah. I'm kind of like, I don't know if I should use their name, because they're a fairly big independent press. And it was like, okay, so this is the book, right? Mm-hmm. And say it was the cover, and the cover started printing at a diagonal down like this.
Oh,
this hole was all white.
God.
And it was every single book.
And they got it, and they sent it off to you.
And they wanted to fight with me about it.
I mean, but you could be like, but look, this is clearly not. Oh my god!
Because I refused to pay for, like, they're like, well, ship it back.
Maybe you should use their name. Maybe we should put them on blast.
No.
What would Kendrick do? Is what I'm.
Exactly.
It rhymes with Hulu.
Okay.
There we go.
And they that was the last time I ever used them.
Wow.
Yeah, that should be the last time.
Because a screw up is okay. One, okay, not a big deal. But the entire shipment, plus they fought me about returning the shipment. They wanted me to pay for the shipping it back to them. And I was like, no. So.
Yeah, it's a whole such an insane, like, pipeline and process. And it's like kind of like filmmaking and all that other stuff too, right? Any creative endeavor, they say it's a small miracle that it actually happens and comes to fruition and stuff. And you've made it happen and come to fruition and stuff.
That's kind of one of the things that I wanted to ask you, because, like, you have a penciler, you have an inker, you have a colorist, you have a letterer.
Yes.
Like, would that not be more, like, wouldn't that be better to have, like, less people? Like, to have the same person that's doing, like, your inker and your pencilist and your colorist, maybe if that's all just one person, right? That way it's like two people, one person that you have to agree with, instead of three people that have to see the vision. You know what I mean?
Actually, it's almost that kind of thought is why I kept them, because in hindsight, or in theory rather, each person has to look at the other person's work.
Right.
Okay.
So I have more eyes on the product.
Very cool.
I see.
No, that's awesome, man. That's so cool. You're getting it done, and that's the important thing. So, first issue is out in July, right?
Mhm.
July 2nd.
July 2nd.
Where can people find it when it is out? Are you guys going to be in comic book stores? Is it going to be online? What's the best way for people to find it?
Since I don't have anything going on in life, I decided to start my own distribution company too.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so we've been working with our distribution company, which we don't have no website or anything going yet, but it's called Outsider Distribution. And they're the ones that circulated the one shot, the free comics to everybody. So right now we have 59 stores, and we've entered renegotiation because now this is where the money comes in. And at that same time, we're reaching out to new stores because to expand.
Right.
And so we're hoping to have at least maybe 75 to 100 stores by the time that rolls around. And
great.
maybe what is it? I want to say 2,100 copies is the magic number for us, and hopefully that's what we can reach.
That's cool, man. Yeah, and as usual, you all go out, support your local comic book stores, guys. Like go buy
artists.
I also have another question. Are you guys going to be attending cons to try and promote this, or are you just going to be distributing?
We will not be at like Comic-Con Revolution, but look for us next year. There's a couple things in the works that I know about, and we'll be there.
Cool, awesome, yeah. So that's really cool. So yeah, go find American Smash when it releases July 2nd. Hopefully it'll be at a store near you. But like I said, you should be in those stores anyways. Just checking out the shelves, seeing what kind of cool comics and everything they have there. Dave, I should call you Dave. Dave, it was a pleasure. Thank you for joining us on this.
I had a blast.
Yeah, on this episode of the Pastrami Nation Podcast. Before we go, though, haven't really talked about it much on this podcast, but I was, I was at C2E2 a couple weeks ago. Was it not last weekend, but the weekend before in Chicago? It was a blast. It was amazing. All the coverage and everything is up at pastramination.com, so go check out the article. Check out the pictures. Check out there's a YouTube video, kind of a walkthrough of the whole event. Just really, really fun to attend. Spoiler alert, but I really, really loved it. It was so much fun. Had an absolute blast. It was like a big party like the whole time. And in Chicago, my gosh, listen, I never thought that I'd be sitting here talking about a con and just like focusing on the food. But I got to tell you guys, Chicago C2E2, like they did not mess around with their food at the con itself. Every single con, I'm not gonna lie, every con I've ever been to, they kind of have like random little like their food cafes and stuff that's already in the convention centers or whatnot. This C2E2 have like food carts like rolled in, and it's like freaking Chicago dogs, deep dish pizza, the Italian beef sandwiches. Like I didn't spend a dime, well, mainly because I didn't want to fly with it, but I didn't spend a dime on like a Prince or anything just because I was afraid to fly it back. But I spent like at least $40-$50 on food alone at the con. Like it was incredible. They also have like this really cool, like it was like a beer garden essentially inside. Like it was crazy. It was cool. So, but anyways, go, all that stuff's in the article. Go check it out. PastramiNation.com. Had an absolute blast. Go check out C2E2 if you guys ever get an opportunity. Absolutely, absolutely recommend it. And before we take off, I have to get your guys' quick opinion on this because I think this is one of the biggest things that dropped over the last few days. Now let's keep it civil, which I know we will.
I know what this is.
But let's talk about Superman just a little bit. Let's talk about James Gunn's Superman. Let's talk about his new suit. What are we feeling?
David, have you seen this before? Have you seen this already?
Have you seen this yet?
I have seen, yeah.
Okay. What do you guys think? I mean, if I'm being 100% honest with you, I mean, I love James Gunn. I've been on board with this since the beginning. I'm excited to see where he goes with it. I think the suit looks I think it looks great. I love how it looks battle worn. It looks like it's a suit that somebody can wear. I like when comic book, hero suits, specifically the movies, they look like it looks like something that's functional, looks like something that characters would wear and could wear. And that's what this suit looks like to me. What do you guys think?
I heard someone point out that it was more reminiscent of like the early Superman comics with like the higher up, like the turtleneck sort of
turtleneck sort of vibe and stuff. What do you Christian, Dave, you guys have any opinions on this guy? What do you guys think?
I just think it's a weird choice for the first image. Like, it's such an important thing because this is literally setting off an entire universe. The first image that we're going to get to see, it was a huge choice. And I know that, like, I'm sure this was a huge debate in a meeting, and this is what won. I get it. I probably would have tried to show off the suit a little better. I think him standing would have been a better choice. Mm-hmm. Like, I think the big thing a lot of people are really complaining about are the wrinkles on his shoulders. Right. You know what I mean? That's natural to see. I don't like the collar. Like, I like an open neck Superman. Yeah. Like, that's my personal design choice. I'm not a fan of that at all. I like the shorts. I like that the briefs are back. I really, really like that. So I don't know this guy. I like James Gunn. He haven't steered me wrong. So I'm with it. I don't care. Like, I don't care that I don't like this because it doesn't mean anything. You know what I mean? I might completely love this. So, but whatever. I like the actual Kingdom Come S that they're using. So that's cool.
Yes. I think it's interesting because, like you said, there was a group of people that voted on this specific image. Yeah. So what is the story that they want you to walk away with?
Because for the painful thing that I think at a glance it looks like he's like you know what I mean? Well, like disaster is happening. Obviously it's Superman and he's like in a split second he's gonna be there and stop whatever's happening. But like in this moment it just looks like he's like again. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't look like urgent. So I don't.
Very domesticated type Superman, right? Like that's what it reminds me of. He's just like doing his like normal routine, getting on his boots. Like he's like, it's almost like he's just a normal dude, right? I think that's what they're trying to convey. He's just like, he has to put on his shoes just like everyone else. You know what I mean?
Literally.
Would you rather see like the other like stereotypical like Superman reveals of like the
absolutely.
Yes. Like 100% Eli. That's not even a question. Not yes. Yeah. I would have liked to see him standing in front of the American flag,
but at the same
doves
time
flying by. I wanted like all of that. Him holding an American flag, even like I want that image. Like this is cool. Whatever, because obviously, like this is a shot, and this is giving us an idea. And I think there's a little kind of Easter egg with like All-Star Superman in the background, with what's going on there, like a little hint as to who our villain might be. That's cool if that's the storyline we're going to go with. That's an interesting place for us to start. If that's what we're doing, I have no clue. But like I said, I like James Gunn. I like everything he's done. I have no reason for me. There's no reason for me to think that this is going to be bad. So, aside from those wrinkled shoulders and that turtleneck, I don't like. Whatever.
I'm excited. I really am.
I'm excited. Exactly. I'm excited.
Yeah. I am too. Absolutely.
James 100%. Gunn is the best personal coach. Nobody can tell me otherwise. I mean, personal trainer.
James Gunn is the best personal trainer.
Have you seen the transformation that he put Chris Pratt and?
Yeah, but he didn't.
Personally, he was it was just
I know, but he put him on something.
No, that's
Chris,
true.
It's me, James Gunn. I'll meet you at 24 hours.
Dude, he does have some dance moves.
6 a.m.
He does have some dance moves. He does all the motion capture dance moves.
I got to work you out before I go visit them at Previs and look at the story.
Yeah, exactly. Anthony Blanco says, and all I got was his dumb shirt. Superman has always been my bottom tier superhero. Jeez. But it looks good.
Here's my thing with Superman, and I think like we can learn this from MCU, right? Like I know that there are a lot of characters who on paper just look super lame and look dated, you know what I mean? But it's about what people do with them. Dana would make this argument that the Fantastic Four is so lame, but it's just like you haven't seen a good movie of them. That's it. Right. Ant-Man on paper is super lame, but like they made him cool. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like Guardians. Doesn't even make sense, but they made it cool. You know what I mean? It's all about like
how. Yet they dropped the most logical line in that movie.
Right. So I think with Superman, I think the struggle is finding a relatable like connection to somebody who's a god, essentially, right?
Yeah,
An alien who's not from this earth. How do we find a relatable thing to him? And maybe relatability is not the answer.
Yeah.
Right. Maybe that's not the direction to go. You know what I mean? Maybe it's just
I do think. I mean, but that's what James Gunn does, though, right? Like that's what he does with all of his characters. And I think with Superman, I mean, I think Superman is the boy, is the you know the Boy Scout, right? Like he's very, to me, he should be very relatable because that's someone. Yeah. What's that?
It's the ultimate, like he's the ultimate immigrant.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
he's the ultimate American immigrant. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
He is the American story. So like
Intel and Justice, but that's a whole nother story.
Yeah, you're going too far ahead. So we're still just trying to establish a universe. So I don't know. I really do like the idea of I don't want like a brooding Superman. I don't want it to be dark. I want to see the guy who helps the cat out of a tree. I want to see a Superman who smiles. You know what I mean? Like 100% beacon of hope. You know what I mean? I think that would be fun to see. Yes, thank you,
Christopher Reeves. Yeah, I mean, listen, I thought Cavill was good as Superman. I thought he did good as a character. I thought he was a good Clark Kent and all this stuff. But yeah, dude, I don't want my Superman doesn't need to be dark, man. I want him to smile. Like, yeah, I know there are dark times. Like it's not always easy, but we all need a beacon of hope right now. Let's put Superman in there to do his thing. Anyways. Go ahead.
I and not to like steer this in another direction, but while we're on the subject, you know, with X-Men coming into the MCU, I think we can learn a lot from X-Men 92.
Yeah.
And let's keep Cyclops at the forefront of this. He is the leader of the X-Men. He's been done dirty for the last 25 years. Let's give him, and can we please, why don't we steal Henry Cavill, like I've been saying for years on this show, and cast him as Cyclops?
Perfect. Oh, yeah.
Perfect.
You never know.
I don't know if you missed that part because I actually messaged you and Kevin when you guys were talking about the X-Men. Cyclops is my personal favorite.
Thank you. Yep. Same. Yep.
Hey, mine's Gambit.
Yeah, we'll have to have we're gonna have another X-Men special on My Public Life as an American Nerd.
I personally, I know we haven't met before today. I am begging you, watch X-Men 97. Because you will. Just that first episode, you're going to be like, finally, some respect. For our guy. Yeah.
To those people who have been saying put respect on his name, Marvel finally did. And they put a ton of it.
To Bo and everybody else at that team. My gosh.
Yeah. It's been a fantastic
finally, people who understand the X-Men.
Yep, absolutely. But yeah, that's our show, everyone. Thank you all for joining us. Make sure to join us every week here at PastramiNation.com or wherever you're watching this or listening. You know, like I said, make sure to like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Also, check out My Public Life as an American Nerd, which comes out weekly as well on all of your favorite podcasting things. So let's go around the table and talk about where people can find us. So, Dave, where can they find you online? Where can they find the company and stuff on Facebook and all that stuff?
Oh goodness, there's quite a few divisions. So if you're interested in the corporate company, the Jayzomon, Jayzomon, Dark Myth Company.com, that's corporate. We have Dark Myth Publications, which does our book brand, hardback, paperback, ebooks. Then we have Dark Myth Comics, which is obviously American Smash. And then if you peek around, you might find some old books that I still have in stock that are up for sale. And let's see, what else do I got? I've got the Jayzomon or Jayzo Modcast Network, which is at jayzomodcast.com.
Yep.
I have Open Contract Challenge, which is our yearly publishing contest, which is going on right now. This is year number 6 for us. You can go to opencontractchallenge.com for that one. And if you want to buy some of my merch, because, why not?
You gotta support local, support indie businesses, man. Super important.
You can go to mythmart.com and you can find me anywhere. Just, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, X. You just put in whatever.com.
Yeah, we call it Twix here.
Just put in whatever.com/ and then David K Montoya. It's me.
Cool. Very cool. And of course, Christian, where can they find you on the interwebs?
Christian Nacorda, no space, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. Let's draw.
Yep. You can find me as well on all of those things. Kevin Hoskinson or Kevin_Hoskinson at Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Twix. I already said Twix. I already said Twitter. All that fun stuff. So come join me. I don't draw. Christian's like a really good artist. So go check him out. You can maybe build some Lego with me. Yeah, that'd be fun. Let's do that. But yeah, y'all check us all out. Thank you all for joining us. It was a lot of fun. Dave, thank you again. That was great.
Thank you for having me. I had a blast.
Can't wait to get American Smash into our hands. And we will talk to you all later. Talk to you all next week. And you all have a good week. Take care of yourselves and each other. And we will talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.